Well, just like usual, we got a fire going. So today's going to be a little bit different. The last video we did the headers. And then I also said I was going to do a video on a Ford truck. That's in the works. Maybe tomorrow. But not right now because it's snowing, raining, doing weird stuff outside, and I don't want to be outside. So 3 years ago, or roughly, maybe a little longer, I did a video on the difference between a Javelin and an AMX. That was a planned video, but I got a little distracted in that video, and some people didn't like it, some people, whatever. So I thought, what better time than to make a second video of that with the junkyard Javelin and the AMX. So this is how I feel about when I watch videos that are going to tell you the history or schematics or whatever you want to call it. Anybody can get on the internet and look that stuff up. I like to watch the videos where I know the individual has had experience and maybe he doesn't know everything about them, but he can tell you just because he's dealt with them for years and years and years. And he's not necessarily telling you the history, but he's giving you a history lesson. So no, I'm not looking up any internet stuff. I'm just going to tell you the difference between them from what I know and what's obvious. And I believe there's nothing else type of thing. So first off, the AMX, 1968, 69, 70. They made them those 3 years. The first generation Javelin was kind of the same thing. Well, let me go back. 70, I don't know if they call that a second gen or not, but it was a 1 year only. Same exact thing for the Javelin, but we're just going to call them the first generation. And yes, I know they're 2 inches longer. 68, 69, 70, you had the first generation Javelin body style. Again, 70, 2 inches longer, some difference in the front fenders and the little signal light side markers, and I think they added some on the rear. Some little minor differences like that, but basically the same shell. And different taillights. Taillights are different. So that's what we're focusing on, not the second generation Javelin and the Javelin with the AMX package. We're just talking about the first two that are two different cars. AMX 68, 69. I had the owner's manual for this car, being a 68, and it actually was called a Rambler. It didn't even say American. It might have said American Motors, but it didn't say American Motor Company. It wasn't labeled AMC. It was just AM, I believe. And the books called itself a Rambler. So technically, it's a Rambler AMX, not an AMC AMX, but whatever. Who cares? They're close enough. So 68, 69 is basically what we're just going to study. And there was a little bit of difference, but not really, between the 2 years. We'll just start with the AMX since that's what we've been working on the most. So right away in the front of the AMX, you basically had the same bumper, same front fender extensions or the headlight buckets, same trim, same hood trim, same fender extension trim. Grille is different, hood is different, fenders are the same. The signal light covers, I guess, could be a little different versus clear and just orange, and whether they had a little chrome cross-eye thing in them. I don't have them on that car either. But basically all the same. Again, the grille and the hood was your major difference from the AMX to the Javelin. And that was kind of the same with 70. You had a different grill for an AMX and a different grill for a Javelin. Even though they extended the hood 2 inches, it was all physically the same bumper, fender extensions, and all that crazy stuff. 68, the serial number is on the shock tower, and I think they had them in the dash as well. This isn't the original dash for this car. 69, they did not have the serial number on the shock tower anymore, as far as I know. I've had a few of them, and then none of them, even like the Rambler, Rebels and stuff like that, they didn't have the, after 68, they didn't have the tag on the shock tower. So I'm just assuming by the amount of AMCs and Ramblers I've owned, that would be true still. The doors, I am 99% sure the doors are the same. The glass is different. And I think that's about it. So the internal workings of the glass, I think, are a little different. And obviously the glass itself, the door glass, is different. The door panels, as far as I know, are pretty much the same. You had different patterns, like a kind of a arrow type of thing. And the armrest, the door locks, all that stuff was the same. The dash was pretty much the same. The only real difference you would get is that AMX, depending on what year AMX or what part of the year. So I think the earliest AMXs, the badge was on the glove box that said AMX with the number. And then later in the year, they went to the center crash pad, or whatever you want to call that thing. And I'm going to guess that was pretty much the same with Javelins. That Javelin, it has a little, well, we'll go to it, but it's got a little Javelin thing instead of an AMX with a serial number on it. The steering wheels, I don't know, because good luck finding one with an original steering wheel, but I'm pretty sure AMXs really just had a Rambler style steering wheel. I don't think they had a real fancy steering wheel until 70. And I think the Javelin would have probably been the same thing. It was just a standard Rambler type of steering wheel. The rim blow, I don't believe, came out until 70, which that one's got a 70 Javelin steering wheel in it. Obviously, this is where it gets cut and things start getting really different. The AMX obviously has no back seat. They were never intended to have one. There are a few fellers out there I've met that say they've retrofitted a Gremlin back seat into an AMX, and you might be able to. Children might fit back there, but not a grown person. The fastback, I think, is just too low. The back glass is the same. Trunk lid is the same. This part right here is the same, but the roof, obviously the rear quarter area, this little flare that comes out, that's all AMX only. The fender extensions, I think no, they're different. I'm pretty sure the fender extensions are different, and they're different because of the fastback. Javelin ones, I think, are not as peaked. And somewhere around here, well, anyways, I assure you these rear fender extensions are different, and they're AMX only. Rear bumpers, same. Taillights, same. This car doesn't have one, but they have a little reflector thing between the taillights. They say AMX or they say Javelin, but they're basically the same. Gas tanks, as far as I know, they're exactly the same. I actually put the Javelin, or the AMX gas tank is in the Javelin, so I mean, I know it fits in there. Rear end, axle, if it was an AMC 20, pretty much the same, except AMXs have hop bars, or early Caltrax, or whatever you want to call them, from the factory because of the bad wheel hop problem they had. So other than those are actually built onto the axle too, or I guess they're not built onto the axle too, but they're molded into the body. And you might have been able to get them on like Javelin Go packs. I don't know that for sure. I don't think they offered the factory hop bars on an AMX with a 290 in it. I think it was just 343 and up. But again, the hood trim, the little chrome strip is the same. We'll go to this side where it's lit up a little better. So an AMX is roughly a foot shorter, and it actually may not even be that much shorter, but you know, it's half a foot, give or take. I guess we could measure it and figure that out. Door handles, they're the same. This door trim, same. Windshield trim, same. Back window trim, same. Little back glass, totally different. The weather stripping, different. You know, because like I said, you're losing a few inches and you're doing this swoop down fastback type of thing. So, you know, that's where the biggest difference are. And again, the doors could be different, but I really doubt that. We'll move on to the Javelin real quick. Let's see. Maybe if I cleaned my shop a little bit, I would find something here. Hang on, I gotta fool around here with this stuff. So, from the rear wheel arch to the door is about 9 inches. And we'll just go ahead and measure this right now while we're thinking about it. Alright, come on now, look on there. And we are 20.5 inches. So, what is that? I don't know, it's about a foot, roughly. I'm not that smart, you guys should already figured that one out. 11 inches, something like that. So that's kind of the chunk you're missing out of an AMX, and because of that, you know, the back window has been stretched. The back of the roof has been stretched. All that's been kind of stretched. So that's, you know, the length difference. And then Javelins went with a more traditional, just body line type of thing with no fancy fender flare, like the AMX has on the rear. Now I know the fenders will interchange, and they are, in my opinion, the same exact fender, because these are the fenders off the AMX. You can see a remnants of orange right there. I just didn't have any fenders at the time for the old junkyard Javelin, so I robbed one off the AMX. Well, I robbed them both off the AMX, to be fair, because this fender was, it looked like the rest of the car, really. So there's the tag on this. I have the AMX tag somewhere, but here's the junkyard Javelin's tag. Same thing on the windshield trim. It's all the same. The windshields are the same. The door glass, I guess I could have maybe tried to show you, but on the AMX, these door glasses kind of go straight. The AMX kind of curves like that for that little weird back window. So that's how the back glass is different, or why it's different. And then if you think about it, the AMX roof line, literally at this spot for the wing window, that's where it starts doing its crazy fastback. And since the wheel is a foot further up, it ends a lot closer. And the fastback is pretty much a fastback, so the curvature of these fender extensions are different. But again, this part, same. Well, in fact, that's what they were when they were doing this. They were just AM American Motors. I guess I probably should glue that back on. That's actually the original one to this car. Not sure how that fell off. Said trunk's the same. Here's that little reflector doohickey thing. The rear roll pan is the same. And I know that because this rear roll pan came off the AMX as well. Or no, it didn't. It might have came off the burnt AMX or something. I can't remember. There's the AMX's roll pan. Rear roll. Where it used to have the exhaust coming. Here's the rear bumper for the AMX. I probably won't be putting those things on. I don't like them. But the spoilers would fit the same. In fact, this spoiler came off the AMX. They fit the same. As far as the interior, this one here is completely just different because it was basically built out of junkyard parts. But any part of the dash off of that and the whole entire dash would just swap into this Javelin. There's that rim blow steering wheel a lot of people hate because I got electrical tape wrapped around it, but oh well. These seats are actually out of an AMX, these turtle backs. I do believe you could get turtle backs in Javelins, but I don't think turtle backs were available until 70, but I could be wrong. But they do bolt into this car and they work fine. The sail panels and the rear interior parts, other than that very back plastic part under the rear windshield, are totally different from an AMX to a Javelin. But the door panels are the same because those are the door panels off the AMX. So are the A-pillar trim, sun visors, rear view mirror. All that stuff is pretty much the same, and I do believe the floor pan is exactly the same until you get behind the seats. It gets a little bit different. But even then, it's not like a big, giant type of difference. Same steering column, same steering components. Pretty much everything's the same except for the back half of an AMX and a Javelin and, you know, the grille and hood. But right there's where it just says Javelin in the center crash pad. Well, hopefully that was a little bit of an eye-opener for you guys on the difference. A little bit better explained. I'm sure somebody's gonna correct me on stuff, and that's okay. And it sounds like somebody's here at my house. So let me go see who's here. All right, sorry about that. But anyways, that's to the best of my knowledge and my history to give you on Javelins and AMXs. AMC Javelin or Rambler Javelin or vice versa, whatever you want to call them. I don't think it really makes a difference. But hopefully this was enjoyable for you guys. I know you guys that really love AMCs and Ramblers and Javelins and AMXs are probably throwing your remote control or your club soda or whatever it is you're drinking or doing at the TV because these are not AMC motors in these cars, but oh well, it'll be fine. But that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the cars in general. So Okay, well, as always, I appreciate you guys watching. And we will be bringing that Ford truck video out here soon, so keep an eye out for that. Tell your friends. We'll see you in the next video.